Hey, how you doing? God bless you. Welcome to another time here. Welcome to another time in the upper room, another opportunity and privilege to pray. Thanks for making it. Thanks for being here. We've been doing a study through the book of Proverbs as we lead ourselves in a place of prayer. And we're presently starting in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 1, talking about that importance of parenting. When we parent right, we have wise children and it gladdens our heart. When we parent wrongly, we have foolish children and it saddens our heart. So we've been talking about how to parent right so that we can have wise children, and we can be glad, we can rejoice over the result, the fruit of our labor. But yesterday we are talking about the importance of giving attention to our children, even as a waiter in the restaurant gives attention to the guest. We need to give attention to our children. We need to pay attention both to their verbal communications and the non-verbal communications, and so that we can know how to tune, our parenting, our right to be able to be a blessing to them, because that's what parenting is about. It's service to our children. Parenting is not about us. Parenting is about our children. Even as the waiter in the restaurant, all our service is not about her. Yes, she gets a tip at the end of the day, but if all she's focused on is on the tip, she will miss it. The waiting is about the guest, because the tip is a function of how served the guests feel, right? And the focus must don't let be on the tip, otherwise you will miss it. You will either underdo or overdo something, she will miss it. The spirit needs to be right, because the spirit has to be one that focuses on the child, right? The spirit has to be one that focuses on the child, because when you then focus on the child, you get the parenting right, and you get your teeth. Your teeth is the gladness of your heart, that you are being able to pour into someone, that can continue, from where you stopped, right? Or is good enough for the next generation. Someone that will not bring you sorrow, someone that will make the Heavenly Father happy, that a person has been well parented, right? A person has been well prepared, to live their own life, to continue the process of civilization, right? So we talked about attending. It will continue from there, and we'll begin to look at, as we attend also. I was reading a few things I was trying to get on, part of the way we get communication and in attendance to our children, is just watching them, right? Because children probably communicate well for everybody. A large percentage of our communication is nonverbal, right? A small part of it is verbal. You can imagine the same thing will be for our children. So we need to take note of their nonverbal communication. We need to take note of their uh, gestures, sounds, facial expression, movements, behaviors, and language. That helps us. Easy to know when our children become teenagers. They give it a one word answer. Stay away. Stay away. I want to take care of my own thing now. You've been too much of an influence in my life. Now is my time. I'm trying to find my identity. I'm now independent and now can do things on my own. You know, but that tells you of a change taking place in their life. It's not something for you to be discouraged about. It's something for you, to understand the transition taking place in their life and adjust your parenting. All right. You know that as they go into their teenage years, they're trying to exhibit or rule or write in their dependency. So you know that your parenting is coming or has come to an end. It's now time to coach. If you do to try to parent, at that time when they are wanting independency, they're trying to understand their identity. You would increase the distance between you and your children. It's time to coach. It's time to help them, in that place of independency to do it well. It's time to start speaking on specific topics, things they are dealing with, which they feel they can do on their own, but they don't have enough wisdom to handle. It's time to give them that wisdom from your own experience of life. Give them that wisdom they need to handle those things that they feel they should handle on their own, but they don't have the wisdom to do that. It's time to coach. It's not time to want to do it for them. It's time to do it through them. Let's So still sharing in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 1, talking about parenting. Or in the morning, we talked about the importance of observing our children and responding thereby, taking notice of their behavior, their gestures. We looked at their gestures, their sounds, their facial expression, their movements, their behaviors, and their language. Once my last child, came into our teenage years, she started requiring that we knock before we enter our room. I used to joke about it. She would come to our room and not knock. She's free to enter our room, but for us to enter our room, they started. She started demanding that we knock. That's her trying to exercise her independence. As much as we joked about it, as much as there was an imbalance, it was the reality of our growth. She was seeking for that independence. She was coming to the independence part of the continuum of our life. Our job as parents is not to disregard our expectation, but to use it as input into our parenting, into input into our parenting system. This child is coming into adulthood, is coming into a place of independency. And it was expected of her because she's a fighter, more of a fighter of my three children. So she wanted independence. Not as if she had the capacity to handle every part of it, but it was the instinctive requirement for her or expectation for her at that point of our life. Her job as parents was to take that as an input into our parenting system and begin to coach her. We need to know that this child doesn't want us to do everything for her anymore. This child wants to do things herself, even though she doesn't have all the wherewithal to do it. Our job is to give her the wherewithal, to guide her, to help her, right? Because as much as she wanted independence, she was still a child. A child, yeah, no, nonetheless, a teenager, but a child. A teenager, but a child. She's not gotten the maturity that's required to handle some things as much as she wants to begin to handle them so as to grow into them. That's okay. It's the way God has made it, because there are things you can only learn by doing. Things in life you can only learn by doing. And until you begin to do it, you will never grow into it. Right. So it's God's instinct of life, and we need to help them through that stage. But understand that they are beginning to do it. They want to do it not because they have the expertise or the mastery through it. So our job is to provide them all they need, so that if they fail in doing it, they don't fail so much that it discourages them from picking themselves up. Our job is to see them in their doing, and provide guidelines, provide the counsel, provide help, where help might be needed. But that involves talking with them. You see, if we talk to them still as children, who are dependent, we'll lose them. We'll lose them. Our job is to talk to them as children who are in their, and with the reality of the stage of life they're in. That stage is saying, I can do it myself, even though we know they have some inabilities, but they want to do it themselves. And we need to then partner with them in this independent stage of life. We'll partner with them. We'll partner with them, to help them through the journey, come to them and give to them, not by force, but find a way to give it to them in such a way that doesn't belittle them. We're not saying that they are not capable, right? We're not trying to do it for them, but we're saying we're trying to help them in their journey of life, right? So it's called coaching because we are the ones coming to them, right? We're not necessarily waiting for them to come to us, because at this stage they think they can do it, but we know better because we have been where they are. We know our inadequacies where they are. So we try to fill up those gaps. We try to fill up those holes, and it's our job to go to them, not them coming to us. In mentoring, they are always coming to us. In coaching, we are going to them. Right. When they leave the stage and they're fully independent, they will be the ones coming to us. We don't have to actively be looking, but we can still passively look and be available to mentor them. But as they go through an independence of life, it's coaching. We are watching over them still. We're not doing it for them, but we're helping them as they do it for themselves. Right. So we need to cognizant of this different levels, different seasons of parenting, and it helps us to build relationship with our children. We want to parent them such that we have the right relationship with them, right? In a win-win um walk with our children. God bless you. Thanks for coming along with me. God bless you. Have a great remaining of today. See you same time tomorrow. God willing. Bye bye. Shalom. Bye bye.